Today, we're going to talk about something that might sound like a plot twist from a TV show, except it's very real. You're at work, or maybe you're on the road, grabbing groceries, or just relaxing at home. Then your phone buzzes. It's a message that looks completely official, Illinois DMV or some county court office. It says you have an unpaid traffic ticket. There's a deadline. There's a link. There's a warning. If you don't pay now, you'll face arrest. And the strange part? They're asking you to pay via gift cards or cryptocurrency. Now, your first thought might be, this can't be real. But for hundreds, possibly even thousands, of residents in Madison County, Illinois, this was more than just a weird message. It was a moment of panic. A moment that cost some of them hundreds, even thousands of dollars. This, my friends, is what we're breaking down today. The 2025 Madison County traffic ticket scam. This isn't just a story about one community being targeted. This is about how digital scams are evolving right under our noses, using fear, urgency, and official-looking messages to rip people off. It's about how easy it is to fall for something that seems legit, especially when it's dressed up in authority and sent straight to your phone. So what are we going to do in this video? We're going to unpack the entire scam. How it started, the tools the scammers used, who was most vulnerable, what law enforcement has said about it, and how you can spot and shut down scams like this before they get to your wallet or your peace of mind. You'll hear about real victims who thought they were dealing with the state, only to realize too late it was a trap. You'll get expert advice on how to stay ahead of digital fraud. And by the end of this video, you won't just be informed, you'll be empowered. Empowered to protect yourself, your family, and your finances from scams like this and many others that are already out there or are coming next. So settle in, grab a pen if you're the note-taking type, and let us dive into one of the most deceptive scams of the year and the hard lessons it teaches us about living in the digital age. Madison County isn't some quiet corner in the middle of nowhere. It's part of the greater Metro East area, right across the Mississippi River from St. Louis. It's a county with a population of just under 270,000 people, working-class folks, families, students, small business owners. The kind of place where people know their neighbors, where local news travels fast, and where trust in public institutions like the DMV, the courts, and local law enforcement is still intact. It's also a place where technology is embedded into public service. Like many counties across the U.S., Madison County and the Illinois DMV have embraced digital communication. Residents routinely get text messages or emails about license renewals, plate expirations, court date reminders. You know the drill. So, when someone got a message on their phone claiming they had an unpaid traffic fine, it didn't set off alarm bells immediately. In fact, for many, it felt like a helpful reminder until they read the details. Here's how the scam went down. First, it would start with a text message or an email, sometimes both. The sender looked legitimate. It had the Illinois DMV logo, a subject line that read something like, "Urgent, unpaid traffic citation, immediate action required," and a warning tone that felt like a flashing red light on your dashboard. Open the message, and it would say something along the lines of, "You have failed to respond to a notice of violation regarding your recent traffic infraction. As of insert date, your fine remains unpaid. Failure to act will result in license suspension and/or arrest warrant issuance." They even included fake case numbers, partial plate numbers, and violation dates, all crafted to feel official. It wasn't generic. It felt personalized, like they knew you. That detail made the whole thing feel real. It was just official enough to not be dismissed as spam. Then came the most disturbing part, the payment methods. Instead of directing you to a state website or asking for a payment at a court office, they pushed you to settle your violation, using gift cards, cryptocurrency wallets, or even mobile banking transfers to vague merchant names. Some messages asked victims to send pictures of prepaid cards with the numbers scratched off. Others sent QR codes linked to crypto wallets and said, "Scan this to avoid further action." If that didn't sound suspicious to you, don't feel bad. The entire point was to induce fear, to trigger a sense of panic so you wouldn't pause long enough to ask the right questions. The message used phrases like, "Your license will be suspended within 24 hours. A bench warrant will be issued if payment is not confirmed. This is your final warning before legal action." They wanted you to feel like you were already in trouble, that you had somehow missed a previous notice, and that if you didn't act fast, things were about to get a lot worse. And sadly, for many people, that worked. Let's talk about what made this scam so powerful. First, it exploited authority. It came under the guise of a government agency, one people usually don't question. Second, it played on shame and fear. Nobody wants to be in trouble with the law. The idea of being arrested over an unpaid ticket, especially if you re someone who has never been in trouble, hits hard. Some people were too embarrassed to even tell their families what happened until it was too late. Third, the scam was urgent. It didn't give you time to think, to research, to pause. It pushed you to act fast, and in fear, fast can feel like smart. They also timed these messages with precision. Most texts went out on Friday nights, or just before a holiday weekend, when government offices were closed. So when you tried calling the DMV or checking your court records, no one answered. The system looked down, and in that void, panic grew. Now here's where the story gets even more sinister. The scammers didn't stop at just generic messages. Some of them included your car's make and model, or your actual license plate number, likely pulled from old data leaks or scraped online. That was enough to break the doubt barrier for many victims. Because who would know that except the DMV? And then there was the design. The emails were polished, clean. The logo placement, the font, the signature at the bottom, it all mirrored the real DMV correspondence. Some even included links that mimicked the look of Illinois Gov websites, just a few characters off. Easy to miss unless you were really paying attention. So let's pause here. Think about how many people this could target. Not just the elderly, not just the tech-challenged, but also young professionals, single parents rushing through the week, immigrants worried about legal status, or college students unsure how the system works. This wasn't about ignorance. It was about timing, pressure, and trust, and how scammers turned those things into weapons. Who was actually targeted? Who did this scam affect, and why them? You might think scams like this cast a wide net. Just send out messages to thousands and hope a few bite, right? Not this time. This wasn't random. It was calculated. The scammers knew exactly who they were after. First, they zeroed in on older adults, especially those over 60. Why? Because many of them still trust official-looking messages. They didn't grow up second-guessing every text or scanning every link for malware. They're used to paying their bills on time, following the rules, and resolving issues quickly. And if something comes from what looks like a government agency, they listen. Also, a lot of seniors aren't as tech-savvy. They may not know how to verify a DMV web address, or they might not even know that government agencies never ask for gift cards. So, when the message said, "You've got 24 hours to fix this," many didn't stop to question. They acted. And for some, that action cost hundreds of dollars. One man in his 70s shared that he'd never had a traffic ticket in his life. But when he got the text, he thought, maybe there's a mix-up. Maybe I missed something in the mail. That doubt, that small opening, was all it took. Next, the scam hit low-income communities, and hard. Let's think about this for a moment. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, even a $150 fine is a big deal. So when you get a message saying your small, unpaid ticket has now escalated to a $500 penalty and possible license suspension, it sets off a survival alarm. Losing a license could mean losing a job, missing a shift, being unable to get your kids to school. The threat isn't just a fine, it's disruption to your entire routine. Some of these residents told investigators later that they knew something felt off, but the fear of the fine growing or having their name attached to an arrest warrant made them feel like they had no choice. It wasn't just fear, it was pressure under poverty. One woman, a single mom of 3, paid $300 in prepaid cards because she believed she was protecting her ability to get to work. She didn't want to tell anyone, not even her sister, because she felt ashamed. But it wasn't stupidity, it was stress, and a system designed to exploit it. You'd think people who are more informed wouldn't fall for scams like this, right? Wrong. The third major group targeted was busy professionals. People juggling meetings, school drop-offs, emails, deadlines. People who don't have time to scrutinize every notification they get. You get a message that looks legit, saying you're late on a fine? You handle it. Not later, now. That's how the mind works when you're overwhelmed. And the scammers knew that. The messages used phrases like final notice or pending legal action. These weren't just formal phrases, they were triggers meant to override your logic and activate your instinct to solve problems fast. The result? People with college degrees and solid incomes were walking into convenience stores and buying Visa gift cards to pay a traffic violation that never existed. Some didn't realize until days later that they'd been scammed, and by then, the money was long gone. Let's talk about how this scam managed to feel so local. The messages didn't just say Illinois DMV. They said Madison County Department of Motor Vehicles. They included local zip codes. Some even referenced known roadways, violation near I-55, or incident on State Route 143. That's surgical level detail. It gave the messages just enough authenticity to pass a quick glance. And it didn't stop in Madison County. Surrounding counties, like St. Clair, Macoupin, and Jersey, also saw similar messages trickling in. It seemed like whoever was behind this had either bought or stolen access to regional data, maybe from a leak, maybe from public records, maybe from an app we all clicked agree on without reading the fine print. At the heart of it all was a psychological game. Let's be honest. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, the idea that you might have, that maybe a camera caught you speeding or you missed a mailed notice, can be enough to make you doubt yourself. The scam worked because it sowed confusion, then exploited that silence. Wrong. People were scared to ask for help. They felt embarrassed. They didn't want to call the police and report it if it turned out to be real. And so they kept quiet, and the scammers kept winning. Now, let's pull back the curtain even further and look at how this entire operation worked technically. Because scams like this don't run on luck. They run on tools, tactics, and tech. And believe me, the people behind this knew exactly what they were doing. It all started with phishing software. Most of us think phishing is just about emails, but this scam went further. The scammers used specialized tools to collect thousands of emails and phone numbers, not just from data breaches, but from sign-up forms, online contests, mobile apps, even poorly secured local business websites. Once they had a list of names, emails, and sometimes zip codes, they had what they needed to begin, a map of real people in real locations tied to Illinois and surrounding areas. Think about that. You get a message that has your name, maybe your plate number, and it comes from a domain that looks like DMV, Illinois, Gov. Most people wouldn't second guess it. That's where spoofing tools came in. Spoofing allows scammers to disguise their email address or phone number. So instead of receiving a warning from unknown@scamlink.com, you might see something like notices at illinois-dmv.org, a nearly perfect imitation of a legitimate government contact. And here's the tricky part. Those domains are just off enough to slip under the radar. Not gov, but org or net. Close, but not quite. Some even use subdomains like DMV, Illinois Payments, com, which to someone in a rush looks completely legitimate. These fake domains linked to phishing websites that were built to look identical to the Illinois DMV's real site. Same fonts, same logos, same layout. Some even had fake CAPTCHA checks, secure badges, and SSL certificates, making the site appear encrypted and trustworthy. And when people clicked the link and entered their info, boom, game over. You might wonder, how did they send out thousands of messages so fast? That's where bots came in. Automated texting platforms were used to blast out thousands of messages per minute, with slight variations in names, dates, and fines. It looked custom, but it wasn't. The bots rotated message templates to avoid spam filters and made sure each person received a slightly different version. The message tone was always the same: urgent, serious, and time-sensitive. Something like, immediate action required. You have an unpaid traffic violation from, or this one. DMV alert. Violation 456238, $220 due. Non-payment will result in warrant issuance. Settle using one of the approved options: Apple gift card, Bitcoin, or Google Pay. Every part of the scam was built around psychological triggers. They used official language like notice of violation, Department of Records, or legal action pending. This wasn't just random jargon. It was calculated to make the person feel like they were already in a system that had documented their mistake. They made sure the tone felt urgent but formal, not too aggressive, but just serious enough to keep the victim from sharing it with others out of embarrassment or fear of looking careless. The scammers' biggest weapon wasn't just tech, it was manipulation. They relied on people reacting instead of thinking. And when emotions take over, logic slips away. Now let's talk about the money. Why gift cards? Why crypto? Because they're untraceable. Once you send that code, it's gone. No chargebacks, no bank trails, no refunds. Scammers requested payment through Apple gift cards, Amazon, Google Play, Walmart prepaid cards, and in more sophisticated versions, even Bitcoin or Ethereum, they'd instruct the victim to go to a nearby convenience store, buy $100 to $500 in gift cards, then either text the codes back or enter them on the fake payment website. Some messages even walk the victim through the steps. To avoid license suspension, go to your nearest Walgreens or CVS. Purchase 2 Apple gift cards totaling $400. Text your payment code to this number once completed. Some went further, offering receipts and confirmation numbers after the victim paid, just to drag it out and squeeze more payments. Imagine the screen of your phone lighting up at 8:13 p.m. on a Friday. Text message, Illinois DMV, traffic violation ILR 918, $275 due. Your license will be suspended in 48 hours. Pay now using gift card to avoid escalation. Link, Illinois DMV Secure Pay. Then the next screen is a fake landing page asking, name, driver's license number, payment method, gift card, enter gift. Everything looks polished. There's even a fake live chat button that no one answers. This wasn't amateur work. It was polished, it was efficient, and it fooled a lot of people. Stories started pouring in from all over Madison County. People called the scam helpline. Here's what some residents said. Names changed to protect their privacy. One middle-aged woman shared, I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. The message said my license would be suspended in 24 hours. I just wanted it handled quickly, so I bought the gift cards they asked for. I felt trapped. Another man, a retiree. It had the Illinois DMV logo, case numbers. When they asked for payment through Amazon gift cards, I thought. I didn't realize it was a scam until days later. Some victims lost hundreds of dollars, while others were swindled out of thousands. Money that for many was hard-earned and irreplaceable. The emotional toll was heavy, as victims wrestled with feelings of embarrassment and even anger at themselves for falling for the trick. As reports mounted, the Madison County Sheriff's Office and local police departments sprang into action. They issued urgent public warnings through press releases, social media posts, and community meetings, urging residents to be vigilant and to never pay fines with gift cards or cryptocurrencies. The Illinois Department of Motor Vehicles released a firm statement clarifying that they never request payment through emails or text messages, especially not with gift cards or crypto. They stressed that all legitimate fines or fees are payable through official government websites or offices, never through unconventional payment methods. These official warnings helped push back against the flood of misinformation and calmed some fears, but the damage had already been done for many. Media outlets played a critical role in shining a spotlight on the scam. The story was first broken in detail by the Telegraph.com, which highlighted the scope and severity of the frauds sweeping through Madison County. Their coverage helped amplify the warnings from law enforcement and government agencies. By sharing victim stories, breaking down how the scam worked, and providing clear steps to avoid falling prey, the media became a key weapon in the fight against these scammers. This public attention also pressured cybersecurity teams and internet providers to take action against the fake websites and suspicious domains. Some phishing sites were taken down quickly, while others popped up elsewhere, showing just how persistent and adaptive these criminals are. One of the most dangerous tools in a scammer's arsenal isn't some high-tech gadget or secret software. It's basic human emotion. Fear and urgency, that's the combo. It's how they reach into your gut and grab hold of your instinct to act fast without thinking. Let's be honest, no one wants legal trouble. The thought of losing your driver's license, having a warrant out for your arrest, or getting pulled over in front of your kids is terrifying. And that's what scammers rely on. They don't need you to think, they just need you to react. That's why their messages always sound something like, "Final notice. Your license will be suspended in 24 hours unless payment is made immediately." Notice the language. It doesn't give you time to verify, to research, or even to ask questions. It pushes you straight into action mode. Then there's trust, the kind we place in institutions like the Department of Motor Vehicles. We may not like the DMV, but we trust that it's real, that it's official. So when a message pops up with the DMV logo, a case number, and your name or license plate, it feels legitimate. Scammers count on this trust. They borrow it, bend it, and hide behind it. But another big factor? Digital literacy. Not everyone can spot a fake link or analyze an email address. Many people, especially older adults or those who aren't used to doing everything online, simply don't know what to look for. They don't realize that a gov-looking website can actually be a phishing trap or that an official-sounding email might be spoofed from a server in another country. Even people who are tech-savvy can fall for scams, especially when they're tired, stressed, or distracted. And that's another layer to this: life overload. People are busy. You get a message while you're cooking dinner, juggling bills, picking up the kids, and boom, you click. You just want to get it over with. That's how good scams work. They catch you in your weakest moment, not your strongest. Now here's something chilling. These scammers learn. They don't just blast out the same message to a million people and hope for the best. They experiment. They test different versions of the scam in smaller batches to see what gets the most responses. Maybe one version uses stronger language. Another might include more personal info. They take note of what works and refine it. It's no different from how a marketer tests email campaigns, except in this case, the product is fraud, and they're always evolving. 5 years ago, the scam of the moment was pretending to be the IRS during tax season. Then came the COVID-era scams, fake relief funds, bogus vaccine appointments. And now, we're seeing local-specific scams like this DMV one. They adapt to whatever people are currently worried about. Here's the takeaway. This is not just about technology. It's about understanding human behavior. Scammers are not smarter than you. They're just playing a different game. One based on reaction, not reason. Urgency, not thought. And the more aware we become of how they play, the more power we gain to stop them in their tracks. Stay with me. Next, we break down the signs, the red flags that can help you spot a scam before you lose a dime. Because here at Elite Mindset, the goal isn't just knowing what's happening. It's knowing how to respond. Welcome back to Elite Mindset, your go-to space for financial education, enlightenment, and empowerment. We read deep into this story of the Madison County traffic ticket scam. And now it's time to focus on the part that really matters: how you protect yourself and how you protect others. Let's start with the basics. There are certain things legitimate government agencies just don't do. And if you know what these red flags look like, you can stop a scam in its tracks before it ever reaches your wallet. 1. Government agencies will never ask for gift cards. Let's say that again. No DMV, no sheriff's office, no court system is going to say, "Please go to Walmart, buy an Apple gift card, and send us the code." That's not how law and order works. 2. They will never ask for cryptocurrency. Bitcoin might be trendy, but no U.S. government agency is accepting Ethereum to settle a traffic fine. If someone asks for crypto, that's an instant red flag. 3. They will never collect payments through weird links in texts or emails. You will never get a legitimate message that says, "Click here to pay your fine before your license is suspended." They send official mail first. Real government communication has a paper trail. That's how accountability works. They don't issue legal threats via text message without prior formal notice. They won't say, "You're going to be arrested in 24 hours unless you pay now." That kind of urgency? Pure manipulation. Why'd have you check marks? So what do you do instead? Let's talk action steps. Real, practical things you can do immediately if you get one of these messages. 1. Pause. Don't panic. Scammers thrive on speed. They want you to react before you think. So when something feels urgent, that's your signal to slow down. 2. Verify independently. Don't trust the phone number or link in the message. Instead, go to the official website of the Illinois DMV or your local DMV if you're elsewhere. Use Google or a known government source. If you're unsure, call the official number and ask. 3. Do not click on links. Not even out of curiosity. Some links don't just take you to fake websites. They can also install spyware or steal your device data. Treat links from unknown senders like biohazards. 4. Inspect the sender. If it's an email, check the full email address, not just the name. An address like illinois.dmv@mailupdate.xyz is not official. Same goes for texts. Spoof numbers can look local, but reverse checking them through a carrier or online lookup can help. 5. Report it. Even if you didn't fall for it, reporting helps authorities track patterns. Here's where you can file a report. FTC, Federal Trade Commission. Report fraud. FTC. govic3.gov, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, your local police or sheriff's office. Save the message or take a screenshot before deleting. That could help someone else. You know who else needs this info? People who may not even realize they're vulnerable. Elderly parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, they're often the first targets. They didn't grow up in the digital world, and scammers know it. So talk to them. Sit down with them and go through examples. Show them how real messages look versus scams. Help them install spam filters on their phones and email. Better yet, teach them to pause and always call you or someone they trust before acting on a message. Also, share this video. Share government alerts. Post about it in your WhatsApp groups, Facebook groups, church bulletin boards, anywhere your community stays in touch. We rise by looking out for each other. And remember, it's not about being scared of technology. It's about using knowledge as your armor. The more familiar you are with how these scams operate, the harder you become to trick. That's the power of being part of the elite mindset community. Stay sharp, because next, we're going to look at how scams like this are part of a growing global trend and what that means for the future of online safety. Now that we've seen how the Madison County scam operated and how you can protect yourself, let us zoom out. This wasn't an isolated event. What happened in Madison is part of a nationwide trend that's evolving year by year. According to the FBI's 2024 Internet Crime Report, over 800,000 scam cases were officially reported across the United States. And leading the list? Phishing, emails, texts, fake websites, pop-up ads. Phishing scams made up a significant portion of cybercrime reports, and scammers aren't slowing down. Phishing. In fact, the Elder Fraud Division within the FBI reported a 34% year-over-year increase in scams where criminals impersonated government agencies, just like the Madison County fake DMV scam. Now get this. In 2024 alone, Americans lost over $10 billion to scams. A huge chunk of that, hundreds of millions, came from schemes pretending to be official entities. IRS, DMV, Medicare, jury duty. These weren't random guesses. Scammers are tapping into systems people instinctively trust. So why Madison County? That's the question a lot of people have asked. Why target a mid-sized place like Madison County? Not a big metro like Chicago. Not a sleepy rural town either. So why here? Here's what likely made it a perfect storm. It's a tight-knit, mid-sized community. That means trust runs high, and people are more likely to believe a message with local language and details. High smartphone usage. In towns like Madison, mobile alerts are part of daily life. Traffic, weather, school closings. That means residents are used to acting on texts from the government. Something as simple as an old local newsletter database or a public website with addresses could be given scammers just enough info to personalize their messages. Possible data breach. While unconfirmed, it's very possible this scam was fueled by a leaked mailing list or public records breach. All it takes is a plate number, a name, or a zip code, and suddenly the message looks real. We live in an era where your digital safety is just as important as your physical one. And being informed is what makes the difference between falling for a scam and shutting it down immediately. And that's exactly what we're doing here at Elite Mindset, giving you the clarity and tools to stay one step ahead. What cybersecurity experts say? Let's start with something simple but powerful: visual trust. Scammers understand one thing very well. We trust what we recognize. That's why the scam in Madison County used the Illinois DMV logo, colors, fonts, even the same tone used in actual government communication. These weren't blurry, suspicious-looking emails with broken grammar. They were clean, professional, and polished. Why? Because today, a scam email can be AI-generated, with perfect grammar, accurate language, and even personalized data. We spoke with a fraud analyst who told us, your email and phone number can get exposed. Scammers no longer need to be clever writers. They use language tools to write phishing emails that pass through spam filters and fool even educated professionals. Public records, online reviews. Any platform where you dropped your contact info. But how do they get your info in the first place? Contests/surveys. They don't need much more to build a convincing lie. Your name, data leaks. When a company you trust, maybe your pharmacy, a store you shopped at, or a local newsletter, has a data breach, scraping, they scan social media profiles once they have that. Expert tips. What you can do. Let's talk about what the experts actually recommend. These are small habits that can make a big difference. 1. Hover before you click. Before you tap or click any link in an email or text, hover over it. On mobile, press and hold. Look at where it's really going. If the link says DMV, Illinois, Gov, but it leads to DMVL Verify, site, net, that's your red flag. 2. Google strange contact info. If you get a weird call or text, take 15 seconds to Google the number or email address. Scam numbers often get reported quickly. You'll usually see forums or alert websites pop up if it's known fraud. 3. Update your phone and browser. Don't ignore those software update alerts. They often include security patches, small updates that fix holes scammers can exploit. One analyst we consulted emphasized, updating your phone can literally protect your bank account. A lot of users get scammed simply because they reusing outdated browsers that don't block known phishing sites. It doesn't take paranoia to stay safe. It takes awareness, a pause, a quick check, a moment to ask, does this feel right? That's what protects you and the people you love. And here on Elite Mindset, our goal is to make sure you never feel powerless in the face of digital deception. You've got the tools. Now it's about using them. Let's close in on the very real, very personal effects this scam had on the people of Madison County. Because beyond the screenshots and warnings, this wasn't just a digital crime. It was a human one. I thought I had to pay it to stay out of jail. Man-standing human cost. For some residents, this wasn't just a scam. It was a devastating financial blow. Several elderly individuals reportedly lost thousands of dollars, money they had set aside for rent, medication, or basic living expenses. One widow in her 70s had this to say, "I just didn't want any trouble. I've never even had a ticket before." In another heartbreaking case, a middle-aged man emptied his emergency savings account, convinced he was moments away from losing his license and job. The stress wasn't just financial. How do I know what's real anymore? Local clinics reported an uptick in anxiety-related visits, particularly from seniors. Some residents said they began to fear even checking their phones or emails. And trust, the cornerstone of any community, took a major hit. People started to second-guess real parking fines, court letters, and legitimate police warnings. There was this creeping fear. If this was fake, classical building strain on government offices. Madison County SDMV and Sheriff's offices were hit hard, but not by the scammers directly. It was the volume of calls, emails, and walk-ins from confused or panicked citizens. People showed up with screenshots, with gift card receipts. If you receive such a request, it's a scam, plain and simple. Madison County official with printed out emails asking, "Is this legit?" In just a matter of days, normal workflows were thrown into chaos. Clerks and officers had to pause daily operations to calm people down and explain what happened, over and over. Departments had to issue official statements. Let us walk into one of the most crucial pieces of this whole story: legal and law enforcement actions. Because behind every scam like this, there's a digital trail, and someone's job is to follow it. Host town hall forums, and work with local radio and newspapers just to spread one clear message, as well as key regulatory agencies like the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, and the Federal Trade Commission, FTC. We've never asked for payment via gift cards or cryptocurrency. They had to regain the public's trust while also chasing shadows, digital criminals with no clear face, no return address, and no accountability. Welcome back to Elite Mindset, the place where we break down not just how money works, but how to protect it. Balance scale investigations launched. As reports started pouring in from Madison County and beyond, the FBI's Cybercrime Division opened an active file. This wasn't some small-town issue anymore. This was now a matter of federal interest. The Bureau partnered with the Illinois State Police. Together, they began piecing together a trail, looking at phishing links, message origin points, IP data, and domains that spoof the DMV. But this is where it gets tricky. Brick challenges. Many of the phishing sites and messages were traced back to overseas servers. often in countries with weak cybercrime enforcement or no extradition agreements. Even more frustrating, scammers used burner accounts, email addresses, and phone numbers that vanish or self-destruct after a few uses. When money was involved, it was typically moved through cryptocurrency, which makes tracing incredibly difficult. Unlike a traditional bank transaction, crypto doesn't have a face, a name, or a customer service number. Once that money moves, it's gone. And by the time it reaches its fourth or fifth wallet transfer, the trail's ice cold. Then there's the human element, the quiet victims. Many people who were scammed never even reported it. Why? Shame. Embarrassment. They didn't want to admit they'd been fooled, especially by something that seemed so obvious in hindsight. And without victim reports, law enforcement faces an uphill battle because they're chasing shadows without a map. Memo: what happens if you report? This part matters, so lean in. Now, let's focus on what you can do, today, right now, to shield yourself and those you love. Even if you don't get your money back, reporting still matters. Every report, no matter how small, contributes to a data pool that law enforcement uses to spot trends. They look for patterns. Which states are getting hit hardest? Which email domains are most used? What days and times are messages sent? Are there similarities in the wording? From there, they can triangulate possible scam hubs and coordinate with international cybercrime units. Your single report could be the missing link that connects hundreds of other cases. And when enough people speak up, authorities can shut down hosting sites, freeze crypto wallets, and issue public warnings faster. Scammers are fast, but the law doesn't sleep. And with the right data, the right pressure, and the right people paying attention, justice can catch up. Welcome back to Elite Mindset, where financial education doesn't stop at making money. It includes protecting it too. You've seen how the scam worked, who it affected, and how the law is chasing it down. This section is all about tools and resources. Grab your phone, screenshot if you need to, or just save this video. We're packing in a lot.